All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get airborne with our accelerated retirement. This is our third free live trade brief here at Top Gun Options at our industry-leading full throttle program. We have a lot to cover today with everything that's going on. More importantly, we have to open our 50 slots. Steve from Cypress, Texas. Jeremiah from Portland, Oregon. There's a full throttle annual offensive and a full throttle max. So the slots are already going pretty quick, folks. You need to head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT. I'm going to give you a quick brief on what the full throttle program is, how you can get airborne, and we're going to talk trading and stuff like that. Okay. Like I said, welcome aboard. This is AR. Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we have what we call accelerated retirement. Usually in the old days before the market went nuts, these used to be longer dated trades. We are going to cover longer dated trade today. We're going to look at UTX or Raytheon. The defense stocks have just been holding up epically. We've been trading the hell out of UTX and Raytheon, making a ton of profit in our defense sector stocks. We're going to keep the level alive there. Not even gonna, I can't even get into the State of the Union last night. What an absolute disgrace. Nancy Pelosi, just a disgusting human being. That'll be her legacy. And I don't know why people are getting all pissed off. She didn't rip up his speech. She was actually ripping up a copy of the Constitution, which she's done a long time ago. But that was just epic. Democrats sitting on their hand, talking about African American unemployment, the lowest ever being reported, Hispanic, you name the metric, everything is hitting on all cylinders, and they all sat on their hands. We're going to talk tactically in a little bit about some of our trades. But hopefully everybody's in this room has seen the movie Braveheart, right? Everybody remember when Longshank's troops are rushing at William of Wallace and his men, and he just kept yelling, hold, hold. So this is, if you cut and paste what happened last week and place it into this week, the exact same thing happened that happened last week is happening this week. I can tell you, just like last Friday, I had 2 institutional calls today. Nobody is going to be long on Friday going into a weekend here. I'm going to brief you on some of the absolute disturbing stuff. This thing is the black plague, and China's lying about it. And it's a lucky strike moment. So if you're in a bearish trade for Friday, you have to remember that it's Wednesday at 1:02 Eastern. Okay, it's discipline. And who was it? Ginny wrote me an email a little while ago. I'll just answer it live. Like, oh geez, some of these trades are at my eject point. Okay. And tonight at 9 o'clock, we're actually going to do a full throttle training session. I should have done this Monday night. It's my mistake that I didn't. Usually on Monday nights when I do the welcome aboard brief, I go through our trade plan. I should have done that because this is the week that you need to be staying disciplined to your trade plan. If the reason you got into a trade, if the reason you committed capital to that trade, any one of those reasons changes, get out of it. Absolutely no reason as to why I got into my bearish trades this week have changed. As a matter of fact, they've gotten worse. So we're going to talk about why something is popping and stuff like that. And it's absolutely insane. Yeah, so this is, Varouge, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Steve works with a company in China. Everybody's stuck in their apartments and nobody's, yeah, exactly. This is ridiculous. So, all right, let's talk about this in a little bit. All right. We're going to do AR today in a couple minutes. I'm going to knock out a quick intro, and we're going to knock out the slots. Actually, every time my phone, what's that? It's a Wonderful Life around Christmas. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his ring. Every time my phone buzzes during these briefs, usually it's another slot, but yep, that's another annual slot right there. So these slots are going quick. If we close all 50 annual slots today or tomorrow, we're done, folks. We won't open any monthly slots. But if you definitely need to come tonight, you definitely need to come tomorrow. We might open some monthly slots tomorrow if we don't get all of the annual slots filled up. Okay, we're going to do our SOT brief. We're going to talk about this Rona bounce, this coronavirus bounce rate here, and what I'm doing with it. And we're going to debrief last week. We had a great CSX trade, a bear call spread on CSX that hit max profit at $2,400. So one trade last week in this portfolio, you could have paid for an annual membership into Full Throttle. And then we're going to take a look at some new trades. I actually just sold, or yesterday into yesterday's close, sold a bear call spread on Amazon, and also a day trade on the S&P 500. I think we're going to sell off and then close. Everybody see what happened yesterday? We had that nice big massive rally. We were up almost 500 points, and we were like 450. Then we closed on lows, folks. We are in the middle of a short squeeze. How long do short squeezes last? 2 to 3 days. This is day 3. Everybody, it seems like it was a year ago. Do you remember last week, folks? And we're in February. February is the second or first, depends on the data you look at. October and February are the most volatile months of the year. I'm telling you, there is absolute, it's medieval what's going on in China right now. And I'm going to brief you on all this. I actually found, I'll put it in the chat box. I found the videos of the dude who smuggled these videos out of China that are making the rounds around the world right now. And we'll talk about why the futures bounced today and why we're up right now. Okay, so full throttle, folks. Today, we're going to talk about a trade. We talked about a burner trade yesterday. Did you look at FXI today? It's actually not up that much, right? The Chinese government injected a boatload more liquidity. They're on day 3, man. They're running out of ink. I think we actually, if Trump wants to help China out with this coronavirus, he needs to send them paper and ink because they are injecting so much liquidity. Do you know that actually ends up being bad? What happened recently when the Federal Reserve tried to unwind the massive balance sheet they have? Equities imploded. So it's going to be very, very, very ugly. Yeah, it's up 13 cents right now, the FXI. It's going lower. I just sold another bear call spread on FXI in this portfolio because I believe FXI is going lower by Friday, period. We'll talk about why. Okay, we talked burner trade yesterday. We're almost done. So today, it's 1 p.m. Wednesday. We're doing AR. We've opened slots. They're going quickly, and we're going to close the doors when we close. Tonight, please come tonight. Okay, make sure over in the little handout box on the right, you download the trade plan. We are going through a trade plan tonight. We're going to talk, I'm going to pick between now and what I'm doing tonight, what tactic we're going to cover, but it's going to be good because a lot of you are not disciplined, right? I told you the other day, hey, if you get into one of these trades and it's red, today or tomorrow and you're freaking the hell out, you're not disciplined. Yeah, you have to go up to your commit criteria and say, why am I in this trade? So all the reasons I've gotten into bearish trades this week have not only stayed, but they've gotten worse, right? Tomorrow, we're done. 10 a.m. tomorrow, we do a weekly debrief. Every Thursday, we do a weekly debrief. We cover all the trades across the portfolios that we're looking at, any potential new trades on Thursday that we need to do. And Friday, I do my coaching calls. Make sure you watch the replays. Let me show you the replay page where that is, just in case you've missed anything. And wow, there's 3 more. There you go. Men line numbers don't. There's 1, 2, 3 more max slots that are gone. Okay, let me pull up the replay page here. Okay, it's go.topgunoptions.com/FT replay. Okay, let me put that in the chat box. Paste, send. All the replays are on this page, and you can see them here. Okay, so please, 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 I'm not going to be rude today. I'm just going to ignore your question. If you ask me a question about something that was already covered in one of these briefs, I'm not going to answer it. Now you're seeing the reason as to why, folks, that we only have 50 new members a couple times a year. We do not open the doors and let the masses in. I can't, it drives me nuts seeing a ton of questions flying by where I'm just like, well, that's not going to happen. So, okay. Good, Joe. Yeah, I'll see you tonight. Make sure you show up tonight because going through the trade plan is awesome. You guys know me well enough by now. I'm Wiz, went from the cockpit to the trading pit, built Top Gun Options about 10 years ago, and we came up with this industry-leading full throttle training program, and it's fantastic. Don't ask me, just listen to a lot of these members. Let me show you how you can get airborne here in our full throttle program. Real quick though, Chuck, I think Chuck's in here. I'm on my 2nd month of full throttle and solo. Solo is solo Amazon. We have a separate trading service that just trades Amazon and XLY. I've been very pleased with my results and what I've learned. I've never seen an approach like this to trading options and having a strategic mindset. Wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be a member. I've made over 10 times the full throttle membership cost by applying what I've learned so far. My biggest winner is synthetic on Apple, where I doubled my investment in 2 months. Awesome. Okay, so that's Dennis. Grab $1,500 profit on yesterday's SPX call spread in less than 24 hours. Scurvy, I think you're in here. You're probably zipping around the background here. Scurvy, former military guy. That's his call sign. Obviously, mine's Wiz. It's not, so been a TGO member since last December. Nobody does options trading like Wiz. I spent a lot of money elsewhere for a number of courses and got ripped off. Man, I hear this. Just about everyone of you in this room has gotten the snake oil bite. For the most part, people are selling dreams, not reality. Wiz preaches reality. He gives solid live training 4 times with in-depth instruction. Add to that, if you're following 3 to 4 live events a week, you receive valuable tactics for trading the market. At that, he has a helpful online community. We call that the Ready Room. That's our online community where we can interact with each other, post trades, review stuff. I can't say enough about Wiz and his methodology. If you're going to spend any money on trading the markets, you need to trust Top Gun Options. Thank you, Scurvy. Tamara's been here for 3-4 years. In all the services I've checked out, TGO is the only one that shows real-time trading both before I joined and does what he states he will do after. And I just hey, there's Scurvy. It cracks me up, folks, when I go to these other quote unquote, training. First of all, we don't do financial education. The world's full of educated derelicts. I hate the term education. Training, options training. Training gives you a skill. I was trained to land aboard the ship. Doctors are trained for open heart surgery. Attorneys are trained to make a defense. Education is for professors and socialists like Bernie Sanders to talk about a book, right? Those who can't teach. Q4, we had an absolute blast, man. Our worst portfolio had about 101% return on risk. We traded the hell out of volatility, the S&P 500, and obviously we've been printing money with our China and Brazil trades. Proven track record, folks. I can send you all our Excel sheets. Let me hit this first, though. I can't stand going to other people's stuff and they've never had a losing trade ever, and we have 1,000%. No, man. We lose some battles. 3 weeks ago, I think I had 3 losing trades that week. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. That happens, man. If you don't think losing trades happen, please don't become a member. We don't need you here because they happen. So you're going to lose a couple battles, but the objective, folks, is to win the war. They happen. Right? If somebody in some service tells you that we don't have losing trades, a fool and their money are soon parted, folks. I strongly recommend you leave here. They happen. Unknown unknowns. Donald Rumsfeld. Folks, I predicted a mid to late January market sell-off. I didn't know about coronavirus. I didn't know that was going to be the trigger. Something was going to do it. Right? Donald Rumsfeld said there are known knowns, right? There are things we know. Then he said there are known unknowns. There are things we know we don't know. And then there are what? Unknown unknowns. There are things we don't know that we don't know. Right? Let me give you a perfect example. A couple months ago, or seems like a year ago, Steve Mnuchin was getting on an airplane to head to China, and his exact quote was, we're 90% of the way there to a trade deal. I'm like, sweet. Put on bullish trades. It was a Friday. I'm making money. Sunday afternoon, he was on an airplane coming home. Everybody remember that? Because the Chinese were like, we're going to drag our feet on this. We think your dude's going to get impeached, and even if he doesn't, Joe Biden's going to win. Ambassador Lighthizer and Secretary Mnuchin called Trump before they went into the next Chinese meeting, and Trump said, Wait, what did they say? Get on an airplane. You're done. So there are unknowns, right? Larry, thanks, man. What you get with others is a static training from years ago. Here at TGO, we get real-time info and trading. If you look at other companies and ask about their live training outside of the static training crickets, and they want more than TGO for membership, and you invest in yourself at the right time. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate that. I got to be honest with you, man. When I play Secret Shopper, some guy's giving you an Iron Condor presentation that he recorded in 1982, and he's never done anything again. And it's funny. Somebody wrote Susie last night, guess what? these are discounted prices. These, if you look at industry competitors, man, those are probably in line with what we should be charging. But folks, it ain't necessarily all about the money for me here at Top Gun Options. I am very, very passionate about what we do. Jeff, you can come back in a little bit, man. We got to knock this out because we're opening up the doors here. Okay, so we lose some battles, period. Objective is to win the war. Joel, perfect example, turned a $10,000 account in, man, a former Marine. So if this guy can do it, he doubled it in about 3 months. Joel's out there in Arizona. If you invested 10 grand doing all of this stuff about 10 years ago when we started, you'd have $3.8 million ish, and I didn't update this for January's insanity. So that's got to be over. That's over 4 million. You know what? This is an old slide, folks. It's not 3.8 because we did well over $150 to 200 last month across our portfolios. That's an 80. Old data is an 81%. That's probably up around 83 to 84% average annualized return. You can start with as little as $2,000. Dutch, he just posted a little bit. People focus on how much money they make on each trade and lose sight of the fact of the overall percentage of return is that grows their account. He took $5,000 and turned it into 20K by initially making smaller trades. And we're going to talk about this tonight. What would you do with $4 million, man? Shrek, one of my Marine buddies, he used the 20 grand that he made over a couple months and went and put a down payment on a Cessna 210. That's pretty cool. So here's what you're going to get with Full Throttle Max. This is Max, right? One is called offensive, one is called defensive, one is called Max. Max, you get access to everything. We have a weekly options brief every Monday at 1 o'clock. We have the primary live trade brief every Tuesday at 10 a.m. You're in it right now. You're in accelerated retirement at 1 p.m. And then we do kind of a weekly debrief Thursday at 10 a.m. And I do my one-on-one coaching on Fridays, right? So, Dave, solo member here. I'm so glad you adjusted your strategy when the market going crazy by providing short-term Amazon and XLY trades. Very helpful. You're welcome, Dave. We'll talk about solo Amazon in a couple weeks if people are interested. So, folks, hey, man, 85% of TGO members work for a living. They can't attend these live trade briefs. Guess what happens? We send out a time-sensitive text and email alert. As soon as I press send, a text alert fires and an email fires. And we post the replay from these briefs about 30 to 45 minutes after the brief is over with. It depends on how long we go, is how long the recording takes to render, right? So email is shot out, text is shot out, and you get the replay. So here's what you're going to get in Full Throttle, folks. In a couple weeks, I got to get with Susie and take a look at the flight schedule, but we're going to do 8 live training sessions. Like somebody posted earlier, these ain't training sessions from 10 years ago that we've never updated. I do this 4 times a year, folks. I do 4 times a year. I do these 8 sessions. But a double vertical, a covered call, hasn't changed since 1982 or whenever options came out, right? They're the same tactic. It's the times that change. So these classes are fantastic because I don't go, hey, we're going to use XYZ stock. That's so stupid. I can't stand when people are, let's use XYZ stock in our example. I'm like, how about you use Amazon because they were in the news today, and let's talk real world stuff. Whenever we did military training, it was always based on a real world scenario that was kind of going on. That's what Full Throttle training is. You want to go talk about a covered call from 1982, go over to somebody else, man, and you're going to be bored as crazy. Okay, so Larry, I always look at the Full Throttle training, learn something new every time. Helps clear up stuff I thought I had down. The live briefs are awesome. How many other companies do that? Us. Live every week, and honestly shows you the losers, and the winners. Awesome. You're also going to get your proprietary flight manuals, folks. Primary, intermediate, and advanced. These things are $197 if you wanted to buy them on our website individually. We throw them in there, folks. We absolutely throw all of this stuff in there, okay? Arnie, thanks, Wiz, from a current TGO member. These are always great review for me. Trading a small account, I'm up over 75% in 3 months. Following your insights and tactics, very happy. JG, thanks for the 15 grand. That was last month, I believe. Ron, I showed you what his email that he sent me the other day, making $78,000 for his parents. Scotty, $8,200. Chuck, I used your intelligence and made $9,500 in one day shorting NDX and SPX options. Hell, yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and blast all this stuff, folks. Here's what you're going to get: access to all of our skilled trade briefs, the manuals. Here's where you need to go: go.topgunoptions.com/getft. That stands for Get Full Throttle. Merry Christmas. I showed you JP just north of me. He bought the kids jet skis. Dutch had a great case study there. I'm not going to beat the dead horse here, folks. Trading, a lot of people sit here and go, with flying a fighter jet or trading options is complex. And I'm like, no, it isn't. And even if it were, how do you battle complexity? You battle complexity with simplicity, folks. So this is simple. Here's what we're going to do. It's superior training. I'm going to teach you how to manage risk, teach you how to be disciplined, right? I was on the phone with a couple of folks today. I'm like, Braveheart, man, why did you get into these trades? If those reasons have changed, get out. If they haven't, stay in. And if they've gotten worse, add to your shorts, which I did. And we're looking good. So we have two choices right now. Do nothing. Enjoy today's brief, tonight's brief, tomorrow's brief for free and go on your way. Or get airborne today and take your trading supersonic. We have a saying at Top Gun, folks: you train like you fight and you fight like you train. And I'm going to teach you how to fight and win in this market. Okay? So here's what we're going to do, because we have a lot to cover, and not a big super marketing guy, but here it is. All you have to do, everything's on this page, folks, about what you get. Here's the training schedule for all the sessions, the training sessions. There's your workbooks. There's 3 different tracks, ladies and gentlemen. About 90% of TGO members are in full throttle max. This one right here. You get access to everything. If you don't want to do the weekly options because they sound a little crazy, I got to be honest with you, folks, like somebody just said about our solo Amazon service, which is not included in this, said, to be honest with you, everything's weekly options now. There is no such thing. I mean, we're going to talk a little longer term defense trade in a little bit here, but I strongly recommend you do max. Rebecca, yes, you can. If you start with the defensive track, you can call us in a couple months or whenever you want to and upgrade into something else. You bet. Absolutely. We are here for you to hook you up. Okay. So go.topgunoptions.com/FT. Don, are you a Navy fighter pilot? Nope. It's all a lie, man. It's a joke. I bought a flight suit at an Army Navy store, and I'm a Cessna pilot. But yeah, you just click on this image right here at the top of the page, and it goes to the order form. That's how you get to the order form. I put this in here. How do you know somebody's a Navy fighter pilot? Don't worry about it. They're going to tell you. No, I mean, it's funny because people, I rarely tell people what I used to do. I don't do that now, clearly. I still fly an older fighter jet every once in a while, doing air shows and stuff like that. But I just don't. It's a younger man's game. My son wants to go to the Naval Academy and fly the F-35, and my oldest son's up at Norwich. We're going to go see him Friday for his last couple hockey games, and he wants to fly for the Marine Corps. So, okay, let's go ahead and get going here. So quick, so I sold an Amazon bear call spread. Jeff Bezos. How's the SPX bear call spread looking? The SPX bear call spread that I did when you logged in here is up $1,700 in 22 minutes. Is that the one you're talking about? So yeah, that one's doing fantastic. Oh, cool, Don. Your father was in the Navy. Awesome. So SPX bear call spread, I did the 33.30. 33.35 for today. It's up $1,800. I also sold an Amazon bear call spread that's currently up $600. I'm going to lead with this real quick. This is why I sold an Amazon bear call spread. Folks, Jeff Bezos just sold $1.8 billion in stock. Well, Wiz, he kind of always sells that. Well, last week, what did he sell? $2 billion. So in the past few days, he's bailing out a lot of this. Wouldn't you? I'm not bearish on Amazon, God no, but the stock's going to go down just mathematically because Jeff Bezos is bailing out of some shares. It's math. So look at this. You could not have a more bullish chart right now with Amazon. Where's my line? Line. I'm wearing my glasses full time. So gap move in Amazon, and it hasn't even come close to filling half the gap. What did I tell you on Monday or in my solo Amazon brief for my solo Amazon members? I said, when a stock gaps up, if it comes back to half the gap and goes up, it's incredibly bullish. If it goes up, hits half the gap and goes down, sell the hell out of it. This thing hasn't even, it made a little bit of a head fake to go back to the half the gap. And then it's hovering up here. So very bullish on Amazon for the time being, but I'm doing a bear call spread out to Friday because of what Bezos did. Usually I wouldn't do this because solo Amazon is a separate service, and we're going to talk about that maybe in a couple weeks. A solo Amazon, I will say again, is not a part of the full throttle program. I also sold a bear call spread for today out for today. The same thing that happened into yesterday's close is going to happen into today's close. I am going to tell you folks, 2 institutional calls today, and not one person who's a lot of money on these phone calls. Not one person is bullish. This is all out. The one guy is completely algorithmic trading firm. People are printing money. The algos are printing money on this, on the, essentially the central banks propping these markets up. When you inject that much liquidity into the market, it forces it higher. But again, folks, the higher you have these type of bounces. Look at this. This is what February is going to look like, folks. If you can cut and paste the past 3 weeks and put it out here in the white space, that's going to be February. Let me talk through what is going on. At 3-ish, more, whatever time, our time, what happened over in China? Some little hospital in some province came out, ladies and gentlemen, and said, we have a remedy for coronavirus, and it doesn't take a year to test, it takes 14 days. It's taking all the professionalism in my body not to crack up. Did you hear me? The Chinese government, and then they squashed it really. The WHO, the World Health Organization, which for the past week has been China's biggest cheerleader, had to come out later this morning and say, no, that's not true, and there's no effective remedies for this virus. Did you hear what I'm saying? It takes 14 days. Well, guess what? That's actually the incubation period too. It's the most ridiculous claim I've ever heard. And the WHO has been kissing China's ass about they could not be doing a more epic job with this. Really? I found what I wanted you guys to see. You are going to click on this link, and you're not going to watch it now because we're busy. I found this. What did I tell you the other day? This guy went around on his scooter in his car and filmed 5 different hospitals, ladies and gentlemen. You have to watch these videos. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Plague. It does not get any more medieval than this. Do you know that over Wuhan for the past 2 days has been a massive, thick smog? You know what it is? It's human ash. Listen to me, Dow up 360 points. There is a fog over Wuhan because they are burning 24/7 in the crematoriums. They are burning bodies, hundreds a day, ladies and gentlemen. Are you listening to me? Now, if you're not going to believe any of this, and these are fake videos and whatever, and buy, get bullish right now. There is a thick. I just put the links in the chat box, folks. This one is the guy I told you about who follows he's documented the fact that people are literally dropping where they stand. They come up and put a blanket over you, and 5 minutes later, a team comes and takes you right to a crematorium. Do you think that death is being recorded? I'll put this in there, folks. There is a black cloud literally over Wuhan, ladies and gentlemen, because the crematoriums are working 24 hours a day. Trying to follow your trades on E-Trade. For some reason, not allowing me to due to some limitation placed on my account. Would like to know more and the reason your preference for TradeStation over E-Trade. Joe, I use E-Trade for training and instruction. I trade with TradeStation because I am a veteran and we get commission-free trading up to a certain point. Folks, if you are a first responder, cop, fireman, a veteran, me, or you're on active duty or a reservist, you call TradeStation. I can't stand TradeStation's option platform. It sucks. I actually set up and do all my math and analysis on E-Trade and go fire them over there for money. All right. So the futures popped. Look at that. Look at the time of day, folks. The futures had a rip your face off rally that some dude in China says he's got a cure for coronavirus. And it doesn't take a year to test and do everything like that. It'll only take 2 weeks. The World Health Organization had to come out and say, this is not true. Somebody tell me why this is going up. Tennyson. Did China's Tennyson accidentally leak the true terrifying coronavirus statistics? 10 days ago, shortly after China reported the first cases, a UK researcher predicted over 250,000 Chinese would be infected by February 4th. And according to Chinese data, the infections have soared to just under 25 grand and only 500 deaths. It is a far cry from this dismal prediction and about 10 times below that predicted by all the smart people in the world. Is this discrepancy possible? Is it truly far less than all the experts are saying and we believe China? Tennyson, ladies and gentlemen, seems to have inadvertently released what potentially the actual number of infections and deaths are, which were astronomically higher than official figures. Tennyson, on its webpage titled Epidemic Situation Tracker, showed the confirmed cases at 154,000, 10 times the original figure, folks, which is in line with all the smart people in the world. There is a screenshot from their webpage. You know what happened? It was taken down, and what happened? On 3 occasions, Tennyson has done this. The screens popped up with these type of numbers. This isn't a fat finger, folks, like somebody accidentally hitting a keystroke. It's happened 3 times. And then what happens? The government numbers go up. What is the truth? We have to leave it up to readers. I have to leave it up to you. I am here to present a case to you and show you what I'm doing. You're here to act as the Senate, as the jury. I disagree or I agree. President Xi Jinping on Monday called on all officials to quickly work together, saying the outcome is going to directly impact social stability in the country. Then again, if China indeed has over 154,000 cases and 25,000 deaths as of 5 ago, then no attempts to mask the full extent and true severity have any hope of containing this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe, absolutely. Just Google, it's TradeStation salutes or something like that. If you're a retired cop, man, thanks for your service, and you need to call TradeStation. Can't stand their options platform. So you either, ladies and gentlemen, sit here. The first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to repeat what I told you yesterday is what? Do not do anything. Step 1 I told you yesterday was what? Do nothing. Grab the pop. You're welcome, Joe. It saves me. It's a ski trip every year with what I'm saving in commissions. But anyway, step 1, do nothing. Go pop some popcorn, grab a big Diet Coke with some ice, and sit here and watch. This is insanity. Yeah, Tesla's finally coming back to Earth. If we have some time, maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. But listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute lie what is going on. They're lying to you. Did anybody, you saw it briefly. I went and worked out this morning, but I've been anchored here. I saw exactly 0.03 seconds of coverage of airliners landing at Travis or March Air Force Base. Haven't seen anything, not one shot at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. For the first time since I was a year old running around in my diapers, the United States government with guns is forcing Americans to stay somewhere against their will. They're using pretty flowery language. Well, they're in a 14-day quarantine and they're being kept comfortable. This is a Hollywood movie, ladies and gentlemen. We have aircraft landing at military bases with Americans, and guys in biosuits are throwing them in military barracks. Can you tell me why the market's going up? It's liquidity, folks. This is going to implode. Did you see this report today? Of course you didn't. Chinese baby tests positive for coronavirus 30 hours after birth. I'll let that sink in. How many of you can believe, and oh, by the way, we haven't even talked about this. They asked, this was comical. What's going on in the market is comical. They asked, hey Don, yeah, G, what's up? Can you give us a little flexibility on this whole phase one thing? I mean, we got some shit going on here. Sure, man. The next day, we never asked for flexibility. Everything's fine. I told you 18 months ago when this trade war started, it will not be worth the paper it's printed on. If anybody in this room thinks China is going to stop stealing all of our intellectual property, they're going to stop subsidizing just one day all of the businesses that they subsidize from the government, you're nuts. And oh, by the way, do you think they're going to stop getting their soybeans and ag products from Brazil when it's cheaper down there? Ladies and gentlemen, the PBOC injecting liquidity and the government forcing banks, giving banks money to loan and stuff like that, they are underwater in debt. If I was Xi Jinping, I'd use capitalism on Donald Trump and go, why am I buying stuff from you when it's cheaper over here? Aren't you guys capitalists? Folks, a broken clock can be right twice a day. Okay. Christine, why isn't this, Steve, you're awesome with so nice to hear the truth. Christine, why is the information not getting out to the general public? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 1984. I'm telling you, man, I'm losing sleep over this stuff. I told you a couple days ago, when I fly with Susie and the kids, if there's turbulence and I don't even look at them, they know they're fine. If there's turbulence and I reach over and tighten their lap belts, they need to be worried. If I'm worried on an airplane, you need to be terrified. I'm not going to say terrified. All of my contacts, from Joint SAS to the Pentagon to the CDC, are going apeshit. Now, if you're Donald J. Trump, can you go apeshit? Of course you can, man. You have to be a leader. But we are not being told the truth. The World Health Organization having to come out and say, ain't no cure for this, that the China's kind of maybe lying a little bit. They didn't say lying. If you watched the press conference last Thursday afternoon about the World Health Organization, it was a disgrace. There's like over 1 million signatures demanding that the director of the World Health Organization resign. All he did for that press conference, besides saying that he led with, it was like Jim Comey, right? It was 20 minutes of kissing China's ass, followed by a minute of, yeah, this is really bad. But anyway, it couldn't be any better that China's so awesome. Friday, folks, last Friday, Donald Trump trotted out a bunch of dudes 15 minutes before market close trying to calm the markets. So here's what I'm telling you. Step one, do nothing. If you have a question mark over here, that's great. Turn that question mark into cash and sit there. Can the market do this? Yeah, it can. I'm going to teach you. It's funny. When I up in Chicago at that trading firm, they used to have a wiki page, like an internal employee page. It was called Wizisms. By the time I left that firm, there was 92 Wizisms on that page. I'm going to give you a bunch of them. Here's one of them. The market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So there's a couple things to do when the market's irrational, which it clearly is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in spitting. Well, S&P's pulled off pretty good here. We're in spitting distance of record highs. Let's go over here to a quick altimeter real quick. Our barometer. What's the VIX doing? The VIX is only, folks, we're up 360 points on the Dow. The VIX is down about 4%. That's nothing. What's the VIX doing, ladies and gentlemen? Spike as I predicted, pulled back as I predicted, and it's hovering. Why? Because there's a massive question mark out there. If you are not long volatility, we'll talk, maybe that'll be another trade for today or for tomorrow, now I'd rather do it today because like I said, there's nobody that I've talked to from London to Chicago, New York, buddy on the P Coast in San Francisco, nobody's going to be getting long this market going into the weekend, period. That's why last week on Friday, you saw that. With the Dow being up 360 points right now, on a normal day, the VIX would be down 10, 15% in the blink of an eye. It's hanging. Why is it hanging? Because the market has not priced in the worst case scenario for this thing. Period. Does anybody in this room think the market being within a couple points of record highs is pricing in the fact that there's a smog that appeared a couple days ago over Wuhan? I've already done the research, folks, about Beijing, and first of all, nobody's driving in the damn city except ambulances. You're not allowed out. So I saw on one blog, people are like, wow, there's a lot of pollution over in China. I'm like, you're retarded. There wasn't any smog over Wuhan 2 weeks ago, and it's just appeared within the past 3 days, and nobody's driving. And the guy's like, well, okay, but it's something else. I'm like, okay, it's not what videos being smuggled out of China say it is. Watch these videos on this page, folks. I put the link in the chat box. This is the dude on his little scooter and riding around and filming in the hospitals. If you think this is all fake, you're nuts. This is a Hollywood soundstage right here. They reproduced Wuhan, and this is all fake. There was some idiot on another thing I was talking to. He's like, this was started by Big Pharma to sell pharma shares. I'm like, man, come on. I mean, seriously. Pull this leg and it plays jingle bells. So we talked earlier in the week about oil being in bear market territory, which is bad. It actually caught a little bit of a bid yesterday, so that's not too bad. It's still low oil prices is not good for the economy, period. A bunch of people losing their jobs in the oil industry does not offset your $10 that you saved filling up the family truckster. Okay, that's just not it. So, okay. So, yeah, Brian, I heard that Hong Kong is out of masks, China is out of masks. I mean, it's just, you're not being told the truth, folks. Stocks rally as investors' coronavirus concerns ease. Whose fears have eased? Come on. So we have the weekend to figure out if people are going back to work in China. I am stunned. If China orders people back to work on February 8th, which is 3 days away or whenever it is, it's the end of days here, man. Why do you think China's scrambling so bad, man? My buddy confirmed, I told you this yesterday, this with the CDC contact, that our CDC folks that went to China to help, Trump said, hey, we're sending people over to help you, Xi. He's like, great, thanks. They're sitting in an office. They're not allowed to go to Wuhan. They're not allowed to look at bodies. They're not allowed to do autopsies. They are not doing autopsies on the bodies, folks. They're going from the ground to the incinerator and into a cloud. That's got to be healthy. So again, now we're going to operationally, there's nothing going on operationally here in the United States. The president's going to be acquitted in a couple hours, and Nancy Pelosi's a disgusting human being. That was the end of the Democratic Party. They couldn't even Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, and none of they couldn't even stand for low unemployment. It was a disgrace. The president is invited to do the State of the Union. That's it. He's a guest, man. So Jonathan Turley had a great article earlier today. He's like, the bar just got lowered for everything. She sat there shaking her head when he'd say stuff and making her faces and stuff like that. For 200, whatever, 50, 60 years of this republic, it was done a certain way, stoic, and it's a disgrace. I think it's fantastic because the Democratic Party is absolutely imploding. There is no way on God's green earth that a Democrat is going to win against Donald Trump if the economy is still strong and the market is still strong. He's talking about Trump tax cuts 2.0, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay, so here we go. It was disgusting. I've never seen anything like it. She literally is a horse's ass. All right, last week, quick debrief. We did a CSX bear call spread. Why did we do a CSX bear call spread? CSX is a rail stock. Let's bring up a chart of CSX. The president, it would be great to get infrastructure done. So 2 weeks ago right here, folks, look at CSX. This used to be one of our long-term bullish trades. When did we bail out of CSX? What was it? A year ago, Nancy and Chuck went to the White House to talk infrastructure, and they came out and they were stunned. This was comical. Nancy and Chuck left the White House, walked out, to the microphones, and they were like, we asked for $1 trillion, and Trump said $2 trillion. Trump is like, hey man, I want infrastructure. I want railways, roads, runways, construction, unions, rebar. That's me, man. I love infrastructure. Wow, we got long CSX. Then what happened like 4 months later? Nancy Pelosi going to the White House to meet on infrastructure with Chuck and the president. On the way out to her limo, said Donald Trump was a criminal and should be impeached. The president's like, oh, that's great. He sat there, waited for them to pull up, went in the room and said, we're done, get out, essentially. Right? Everybody remember that? The president had a temper tantrum. And Nancy Pelosi posted this picture of her like standing up and yelling at the president across the table with her finger. It was like her profile picture for a while on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, 27 years in the United States military and 15, 17 years on Wall Street. I've done business consulting from the Fortune 1 company to mom and pop stores. Never in my 27 years has anybody who stood up in a meeting and been doing that been the sane one in the room, and I'll leave it at that. But we sold last week into CSX and made $2,400. Why? Because right here, Nancy Pelosi tried to do the we can chew gum and walk at the same time. They threw a $760 billion infrastructure thing over the fence. It was full of green crap. It was the Green New Deal infrastructure thing that they threw over the fence. It was a cynical political thing. Like, hey, look, well, we want to do infrastructure, and Trump said no. So we sold a bear call spread right there, and 2 days later we made $2,400. Nice little recovery out of CSX. I like it, but so good trade right there. And then we also bought Apple puts. I took half my Apple puts off Friday, which were fantastic. Christine, isn't the CDC responsible for keeping us informed? That's what's going on. Everyone thinks they are over there helping. If we accidentally released a pandemic in our own country and Chinese dude showed up to help out, we probably wouldn't be wanting them to see anything either. The CDC folks is kind of telling, if you have to go find the stuff on your own. That's kind of why I'm here to teach you all this stuff. The CDC isn't holding a press conference today going, by the way, just a reminder that It's been 50 years since we've had dudes in uniforms with guns keep Americans in quarantine against their will. Any other questions? Great things going on. So, folks, just because they're not telling you doesn't mean it's not happening. How about insider selling, right? Now, we know that Jeff Bezos dumped a boatload of his stock. Why? Because he's got to disclose that. If you're a company officer and you buy or sell, it's a legal requirement. Did anybody see the press conference today when Jeff Bezos announced he was selling all this? The answer is no, because companies don't do that. They kind of whisper it, right? They put it in a little filing and try to hide it. That's what happens, folks. So the CDC, if you go to their website, folks, this stuff is on there. So, okay, let's talk. So I am going to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that the S&P 500 is going back towards these record. Where did we top out last time, man? Look at this. Let me close that right there. So this 33.30. Okay, we've gained back nearly all the coronavirus losses, and what has happened? It's gotten worse. Let me say that again. There's another Japanese cruise ship. 3,700 people on a Japanese cruise ship. 10 of them are infected, which means 3,700 of them are infected, in my opinion. So, folks, we're back up to record highs, and it's only gotten worse. And they're lying to you about how bad it is. Who in this room is bullish and a buyer of stocks right now? We're actually going to get bullish right now on something. Look at these two names. Look at Raytheon. Here's your coronavirus outbreak. Look at UTX. I love United Technologies. Patriot missile batteries, drones, avionics. How about last night, ladies and gentlemen? The General Soleimani, the man is personally responsible for killing 608 Marines and soldiers and maiming thousands more. They couldn't even clap that the world's #1 terrorist who has killed 608 Marines and soldiers. You couldn't clap for that? Disgusting human beings. Democratic Party of this country is awful. So I look at UTX. Here's their coronavirus pullback right here. Getting to the higher end of a range here, though. Had great earnings last week. The defense stocks are fantastic. If you're looking to be bullish on something right now, stay in the defense stocks. We have not heard the last from Iran. They're not done, folks. Even though I told you we attacked their nuclear facilities and put them back about 20 years. Okay? So a couple things you can do. Well, folks, listen to me. The Apple, let's talk about Apple real quick. Apple it's a binary trade right now. What do I mean by that? They're either going to order their people back to work next week in infected zones and make the worst corporate blunder in history, or they're going to stay closed next week. And let me go to this chart. When you hear me say I don't know or throw a question mark out here, that equals you can probably sit down and go to cash. I cannot believe that with everything that's going on in China, that companies would be ordered back to work next week. So I'm going to stress this again. If you don't know, I don't know, but maybe you know, tell me. This is a binary trade. What's binary mean? It's either 1 or a 0, man, right? Computer code. They're either going to order them back to work next week and pretend that everything's fine, which is a distinct possibility, folks. If you're Xi Jinping sitting in a brief right now saying, sir, we've cremated over 25,000 bodies and this thing isn't contained. Anybody ever see the Netflix series Chernobyl? I mean, this sounds like Chernobyl. It got so bad at a certain point where they just had to break and go, all right, now we got to tell the world really how bad this is. And the world was like, what the? So that's either going to happen or everything's fine. I am completely overacting. Right? Roy, You still think they set Iran's nuke capacity back? News covering that up. Roy, let me. We got to cruise, man. I got to cover a couple trades. We're running late. Listen to me. Unlike John Bolton, Hillary Clinton, Jim Comey, and other people who have security clearances in the military, we're pretty damn good at keeping secrets. I have my top secret clearance. I've read in the programs. I signed stuff I will never talk about until the next life, and even then, it scares the hell out of me. I will report to you that 10 F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, which are individual air forces, folks, the airplane doesn't fly with anybody else. They don't need to. They're their own thing. They jam, they shoot, they bomb. 10 Joint Strike Fighters took off out of Al Udeid airfield during the missile strike. Within hours of them taking off, Google it, folks, 2 earthquakes were reported near Iranian nuke development sites. There's 2 pieces of evidence. Here's your last piece of evidence. Donald Trump walked out to the ante hall. He didn't say good afternoon, my fellow Americans. He walked up to the podium and said, while I am president of the United States, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Good afternoon, my fellow Americans. That was his first sentence. So if you can't connect the dots, I can't help you. I can confirm that, in fact, happened. So anyway, we got to get going. I did, Wiz, you connect the dots. I try to. But let me talk more FXI, because this is a target-rich environment to shoot at here, and I almost want to win and went down. Tomorrow we'll talk UTX and Raytheon. You bet, Roy, because I just can't believe that FXI and look at the bounce in FXI, 21 cents. They injected another $1 billion of liquidity, right? Jim, Iran has 8 5.0 magnitude earthquakes a year. Jim, tell me what magnitude earthquakes the one near Bushehr was registered at. The Richter scale goes up to 10. It was 10, and it was 6 miles down. So anyway, couple things. Let me review. Amazon, I would say it's math that this is going to go down. So looking at a bear call spread on Amazon, the 2050, 2052 and a half. Okay, that's the trade that I like right there. Let me copy that one and take a look at it. FXI, yes, a bear call spread out to Friday, folks. I'm making a prediction, and I'm going to lead all tonight and tomorrow when we close the doors with predictions. And I'm going to lead with those predictions with the first sentence of, if you don't know, don't trade. If you listen to my commit criteria as to why I'm getting into a trade, and you're given that vertical head nod, like, yeah, I agree with that commit criteria, great. Then get airborne. But these, I love one of my favorite 80s movies, right? War Games, Professor Falcon. Greetings, Professor Falcon. Sometimes the only winning move is not to trade. Cash is a position, folks. Me, I know what's going on. I know, talking to people smarter than me, that nobody's getting bullish up here this is a double top, folks. And you're being lied to about how bad this thing is. How many of you are going to buy the hell out of stuff tomorrow and Friday going into a weekend where God knows what can happen? Nobody. I helped the chief risk officer of our $1 billion options firm to do this type of stuff. He's like, holy crap. Nobody's going to be getting long this market on Friday, folks. I can be wrong. I have been wrong. And let me clear all that up. We could see 1,000-point rally on the Dow on Friday. It's well within the realm of possibility. So don't trade if you think that's going to happen. I've done this for 27 years, and I know going into weekends where there is uncertainty, people ain't trading. So let me lead with that. That's what we're going to lead with. That's one of the trades we're going to do right now because I'm stunned here. The VIX is where I would be looking for a trade. Remember, folks, February is one of the most volatile months, right? Arthur Wiz question. How is this so bad there and nothing here? Just wondering. Arthur, we have confirmed coronavirus cases in the United States. They absolutely have, right? And you have to look at and I breezed past this article because we gotta get going here. I read this and do this on your own. Where was it? Phase. I think I closed it. It's wave 2 and 3, folks. You can have waves of a virus, man. I've gotten pretty damn smart on all this stuff. Where is it? Oh, wow. Look at this. CDC details efforts to contain inevitable U.S. coronavirus outbreak as the World Health. I didn't read this one. First, babies born infected with coronavirus. Hong Kong closes its borders. We knew that. Where was the CDC? The CDC held a brief press briefing. So it was a really quick brief. 76 patients under observation. The CDC, the planes landed, got that. But with a larger outbreak expected, the CDC said it started shipping its coronavirus test kits to more than 100 labs. The mandatory quarantine orders, the first in 50 years, are the beginning of what could be a long response. She also described the threat as unprecedented, an unprecedented public health threat that Dow's up 400 points. Holy crap. That is the CDC, folks, of the United States of America. Holy shit, I didn't see this. Brazil just announced 11 suspected cases. They had none in Latin America up to a couple days ago. What's the EWZ doing? Oof. Right up to the 50-day moving average, folks. All right, enough. Can you believe that the CDC, ladies and gentlemen, just said that the outbreak of coronavirus in America is inevitable and people are buying stocks? Or wait, are you guys not seeing this? I'm sorry. Shit. Where am I? Damn it, my screen froze. Sorry about that. It right here, folks. CDC. Here, I'm not going to read it again. It's all on this page. Everything I just read you down here. The CDC. This was at 1:30 or at 1 o'clock. Oh, this is why we were on this thing. So let me paste this in here, guys. This is an absolute short squeeze, folks. Short squeezes last about 2 to 3 days. We're on day 3 of this. Last week, folks, where were you last week? Well, we were making 150 grand. The market did that last week and did that on Friday. Friday is a world away, ladies and gentlemen, in trade time here. Does anybody think that the market does this week? Folks, it's a rhetorical question. 2 massive institutional phone calls today with folks. Not one person is getting long right now, and absolutely nobody will be getting long stocks going into the weekend. I cannot believe at 1 o'clock the CDC talk like this and the market is up here. It is a short squeeze. So most of my buddies are sitting on their hands. Why? Because this thing can drift a little bit higher. And if you're short, you lose money exponentially. This is why markets go down a hell of a lot faster than they go up. This V response here is a short squeeze and algorithmic buying. It is not humans, folks. There's nobody in the 500 people in this room who would probably be stepping in here to buy stocks unless it's in pharma or the defense sector, period. Right? Everybody give me a vertical head nod. Brian, when did they say that? Foxconn announces they won't start iPhone production until late Feb. Ooh. Joe just made $1,500 on put spread for today during the webinar. Nice job, Joe. Sweet. Wow. Well, James, that's something to be said there. I got to get going here, folks. But we got to get fixed. But I am a Tesla type of guy too. So goes Tesla, so goes the market type of thing. I've heard that. But you know, the Nasdaq was in the red for most of today because of that. Let's get to the VIX, folks. We gotta get long volatility here. What is it? Already peaked. It did. Look at this. Volatility can go up, folks, stay elevated, and then rip higher. Terry Duffy, the head of the CBO, or the CBOT, was on TV the other day. He said the same thing. He's like, man, volatility is hovering up here, and it can get higher. Absolutely believe that. Let's take a 2-year chart of the VIX. 35-ish on the VIX. 5-year, folks. I told you I was in the CBO when it hit 90. Look at the VIX at 50. Look at the VIX up here at 60. Look at us down here, folks. Was this a global pandemic? Nope. Was that a global pandemic? Nope. Is this a global pandemic? Well, the WHO said it was last week, and now they're backtracking, and now they're not backtracking, and we're down here. So I'm going to say this, and we're going to talk about this tonight in our training. If you looking, we're going to get long surrender. Nice job, man. Holy crap. I want to grab a shot of that. But here's the problem, folks. If you're going to look, if you get long volatility today, and next week China comes out and says, "Oh my God, we fixed this thing, and it was all a big hoax and stuff like that," and you're going to look at those VIX calls as losing money, don't do anything. Do not do this. Okay, remember when I talked the other day about something that's called a trade that's a hedge. Wow, 20 contracts. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Nice job. I'm killing me if I obviously said your name wrong, but nice job on Amazon. Holy crap. Okay. So let me lead with that. I absolutely would get long volatility and long some VIX calls right here, period. But if you're the type of person who, in a week from now, if Donald Trump and Xi are like, man, that was so stupid. You remember that coronavirus thing? How dumb were we? And those VIX calls, I don't sit here in my office, folks, and every month go, I can't believe I lost that much money this month on my auto, home, and life insurance to USAA. What am I thinking? First of all, that doesn't happen because it's on automatic debit every month. I just pay my insurance, man. So do not look at this as, yeah, exactly, folks. Here's what's going on right now. This was not hurricane season. This was hurricane season, and now there's a tropical depression like over the Bahamas. You can get hurricane insurance, but you're going to be paying up for it. So I would absolutely, how far out would I go? Let's take a look at I think the weekend's going to be a shit show. If they do not get people back to work, the markets are going to implode next week and volatility is going to go higher. Period. It's going to rip higher. Do you remember last week? There was one day the VIX was up like 25% in a day. The VIX can move in the blink, in a breaking news story, folks. The VIX can move. Okay. Feb 12th is, what's that, Valentine's Day? That seems like it's pretty far away to get long volatility, but yeah. Wow, 33. Look at the open interest down here at the 21 strike. Holy shnikes. Look at that, guys. Somebody, and last week somebody, what was it, 17 million bucks? Somebody made like 17 million bucks in a couple hours getting long VIX. I forgot to show you that article. There are, and folks, remember, if you're an institutional trader or you're managing a big portfolio, you have to hedge. There's no way you can sit here and go, everything's fine. If everything isn't fine and you have to write your investors and go, yeah, I lost all your money and didn't hedge anything. So these obviously are people hedging that volatility is going to spike. And these are people also like me going, I absolutely think volatility is going to spike. But look at that. How cheap are those things? What are those? The the 21s, ladies and gentlemen. The VIX would have to go up $6 or more, obviously. Wow, that is absolutely insane. So open interest and yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, Dutch, I didn't know that. Wow, look at that. Let me grab that real quick. All right, guys, I'm going to buy some VIX calls. We're going to talk about the rest of the stuff tonight. And what, even though the market will be closed, we're running out of time here, just because we had to cover all this stuff. But let's do, and I showed you the trades that I'm looking at today. Bearish on Amazon, the 2050, 2052.5 out to Friday. FXI, I added another bearish FXI out to tomorrow, the 41.5, 42 bear call spread. And then I got an S&P 500 on for today, folks. That's the 3330, 3335. SPX, how we doing? It's $5 away, man. That's nice. I think we're going to do exactly what we did yesterday, folks, and give up about 100 points going into the close. Remember, so we're starting to see this type of pattern, like, yay, and then kind of sell into the close. The next day, yay, sell into the close. These are lower highs, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what I'm going to say. But let's get some VIX calls on at a minimum. This is for the accelerated portfolio, retirement portfolio. I want to be long in here right now. No shit. Oh no, Mitt Romney. That's his career too. He's done. He's a disgusting human being. All right, VIX. I'm going to go out to. You could go out. He's such a scumbag. He's a 2-time failed presidential candidate. Couldn't even beat Barack Hussein Obama. All right, let's go with the Feb 12s. Where did we pop out last week? 17, 18. That's not that bad. Let's do the how much? Wow, those are cheap. I'm doing these, man. I'm going to be buying the Feb 12 18 calls. We got long volatility last week. Some people made 15 grand on those calls. Holy crap, I didn't buy that much, but 100 would be, I'm going to do about 125 of these because I don't want to risk, maybe 120, right around 5 grand. That's my max risk per trade in these portfolio. Okay, I would be doing these. He's such a tool. Bain Capital. I remember Mitt Romney when he was on Wall Street. Let me grab a screenshot of these VIX calls. VIX 25. Yeah, we'll talk. We're going to have to talk about the rest of the stuff I wanted to tonight, just for the sake of time. Yeah, he's, he went and kissed the president's rear end to try and be the Secretary of State. Trump didn't want him, and he's got Trump derangement syndrome. He's an awful. I can't believe the people of Utah are going to be digging that dude too much longer. Not at all. He's just such a tool. So, all right, guys. I haven't even looked at my phone. Clearly, I don't know how many slots we have left. Seems like a lot of motivated people. This is I wouldn't be flying around this market solo, folks. This is just I would absolutely be getting in this thing. And man, please be careful. So grab your full throttle slot. Like I said, if we got a couple, if we don't fill all 50 up today and tomorrow, we will open whatever the rest are up to monthly. It just depends, man. There are times when we're full before the Wednesday night session tonight. There are times when we're full tomorrow afternoon. So it's up to you guys. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. And I mean, no more case studies, any of that stuff. I've already showed you what all of our members are doing and saying. I'm showing you actual stuff here, folks. So make an investment in yourself here. Because especially, and I'm telling you, when, not if, this market implodes, just like it did for the past week and a half, 150 to 200 grand in profits across our portfolios, we are coming up to a double top, folks. What's the bullish case? Somebody give me the bullish case. Earnings. Did you not see that earnings were all over the place? The Fed. Okay, the Fed is pumping. The PBOC is pumping. They pumped the entire time for this. What are they going to do when that happens? Double pump, quadruple pump. And that's when people lose faith in central banks, ladies and gentlemen. I am not bullish at all. Now, let's wrap with this. The market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. If you completely don't agree with anything I've said today, take the other side of these trades. I can't even say it. Without my hand shaking, I can't say that. Short volatility. You would be a meth addict to short volatility here. But if you think market's going to rip higher and falls going in, short it. Oh my God, I'm giving myself agita. Don't short volatility, guys, for the love of God and all things holy. You think Apple's going to open next week and everything's fine and they're not burning bodies and the cloud over Wuhan is, I don't know, from Pocahontas. Come on, guys, use your brain. Either use your brain and get active and get airborne with us and hang out with us and do the training, folks. I'm getting random emails like, hey, how do you do a bear call spread? I'm like, oh my God, man, you need the 8 full throttle sessions, all right? And tonight at 9, I'm going to give you a demonstration of what our training is going to be like, okay? Yeah, you bet. You're welcome. Well, good. Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's what? Tamara, a person has died on board an airliner flight from China to New Zealand. What? Oh my God. Wow, wow, wow. I did not see that. All right, well, folks, this is changing by the minute. Obviously, we've been stuck in here. Tamara just reported. Okay, this is the stuff that I'm talking about, man. Folks, they are lying to you about all of this, folks. Dow's pulling back a little bit. Wow, that's insane. There was a baby born with coronavirus, folks. This is fantastically bad. So could be a heart attack. Yeah, Karen, it could be just your typical heart attack, folks. But John D. Wisconsin reports its first case of virus. Holy crap! All right, guys. Well, it sounds like things are shifting pretty damn quickly. If you think the United States government is telling you the truth, or you think the Chinese government is telling you the truth, you're a moron about this. Period. Read that Zero Hedge article. Look at this. Do this for yourself, folks. This is the one I told you about the other day. The guy that went around Wuhan and filmed 5 different hospitals. He was also visited by police. These videos were already out, folks. Guess what they did? They busted into his house, took him down to a police station, and I'm pretty sure they were going to kill him. And then guess what happened? It's in this article. They did. Look at this. Around midnight, the police suddenly became nice to him. Why? It turned out by then his video clips were all over the internet. So they let him go at about 2 in the morning. Look at this, folks. 5, 6 men in full virus gear kicked open his door, took him to a police station, and then all of a sudden they were nice to him because the videos got around the world. Read this and watch the videos. Stop listening to Donald Trump, stop listening to the CDC, and stop listening to the WHO. WHO is kissing China's ass, and certainly don't listen to China. Okay? All right, we're going to do a lot tonight at Sandra, make sure you stop by tomorrow. We'll talk. If we got monthly slots tomorrow, you can do a monthly slot tomorrow. Okay. All right. I got to go. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got a lot of phone calls to make. A lot going on. Join me tonight at 9:00. Same link that you used to get in here, and then tomorrow. And join me tonight because it's not going to be as chaotic and all over the place. I'm going to grab a glass of wine. We're going to relax, and we're going to talk about tactics and stuff like that. We got to talk about a trade plan. Download the trade plan that's in the little handout box right now and review it before tonight. Okay. The VIX was what, the 7s? It was the 20. It's the Feb 12, 18 calls. I'm buying 120 of them easily. You're welcome, Don. John, my Chinese friend with friends in China confirmed it's really, really, really bad. Yeah, this sucks, man. I keep saying I'm going to leave on this. I'm going to leave on this. I don't want to be right, guys. I don't want to be right about a contagion. I don't want to be right about 25,000 people being cremated in China. Use your brain, man. But we're going to print money on the way down, unfortunately or fortunately. All right, guys. Welcome aboard to all of our new members. Wow, there's a ton of them in there. And I'll see many of you tonight. God bless. We'll see you in a little bit.